Hello and thank you for joining us on ERi-TV. This is English News Broadcast live from the headquarters in Asmara at exactly 10:30 p.m. First, the top stories. Maidma Nursery contributing in Green Campaign. Students of Eritrea Secondary School start regular education. Britain port workers begin 8-day strike. And Japan mules deploying long-range missile to counter China. In our local news, the Ministry of Agriculture branch in Maidma subzone reported that the Maidma Nursery is significantly contributing in the green campaign that is being conducted every year through the Student Summer Work Program. Mr. Mabrahtu Araya, head of the Agriculture Office in the subzone, said that this year the nursery prepared over 150,000 tree seedlings, and so far 22,000 has been planted through the Student Summer Work Program, and the remaining 106,000 is being planted by the residents. Mr. Mabrahtu further noted that the residents since January have conducted soil and water conservation activities with a view to redress the environmental and thereby boost agricultural production. Mr. Mabrahtu also called on the public for sustainable conduct soil and water conservation activities with a view to collect every drop of water in their agricultural activities. The 35th round members of the National Service that are in Sawa to pursue their 12th grade education have started their regular education, completing 3-week basic military training. At the official opening of the 2022-2023 academic year, Mr. Som Gabrahiwa, director of the Eritrea Secondary School, gave detailed information to the students on the general regulation of the school. At the briefing, Mr. Som called on the students to respect the regulation and guidelines of the school and fully concentrate in their education during their stay in Sawa for a year. Mr. Som also said that sport activities, seminars, general knowledge competitions, as well as cultural and entertainment programs will be conducted as part of the regular education, pointing out on the effort to fulfill the basic demands of the students, including social service. Lieutenant Colonel Temesgen Samuel, Deputy Commander of the National Service Training Center, called on the students to have clear vision and demonstrate competitiveness in their education. We have an announcement from the Ministry of Health. 9 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the central region have recovered fully and have been discharged from the facility. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly increased to 10,038, while the number of deaths stand at 103. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date stands at 10,149. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 21st August 2022. Following a short break, we'll be back with international news. Stay tuned. More than 1,900 workers at the Britain's biggest container port are walking out of their jobs for 8 days from Sunday over pay with their union and shipping companies, warning the walkout could seriously affect trade and supply chains. The plan by the staff at Felixstowe, located on the east coast of England, comes after various strikes have been staged this week by thousands of transport workers in disputes over pay as a cost of living crisis bites. Strikes action will cause huge disruption and will generate massive shock waves throughout the UK supply chain, but this dispute is entirely of the company's own making, said Robbie Morton, the Unite Union's National Office for Docks. Felixstowe's operator, Hutchison Porton, on Friday said it believed a 7% hike in wage and a lump sum of $604 would be fair, adding the port's workers union, which represents nearly 500 staff in supervision, engineering, and clerical role, had accepted the deal. Unite, which represents mainly dock workers, argues the proposal is a great deal below the current inflation rate and followed a below-inflation increase last year. The walkout by members of Unite, including crane drivers, machine operators, and stevedores, marks the first strike to disrupt the port since 1989, following a more than 9 to 10 votes in favor. Meanwhile, the London transport strikes this week brought a city to halt when the train and bus network of the city saw strike over pay and conditions amid rising inflation in the country. Similar strikes are also being planned in other industries like lawyers, teachers, nurses, flight fighters, and waste collections, airport, and postal staff. Japan has been considering the deployment of 1,000 long-range cruise missiles to increase its ability to counter the growing regional military clout of China. The Japanese government had devised plans to upgrade its existing surface-to-ship missile to extend their range from 100 kilometers to about 1,000 kilometers, local newspaper reported on today. The added range would allow Japanese military forces to reach targets inside China's maintaining as well as North Korea, the newspaper reported, citing unnamed sources. And upgrading would also need to be made to allow Japan's existing ships and aircraft to be able to fire the new missile, which could hit land-based targets. The newspaper also reported the missile would be deployed in and around the southwestern Kyushu region and on a small island in Japan's southwestern water close to Japanese new leader Fumio Kishida has vowed to boost military spending, which has been kept close to around 1% of GDP. Media reports said that Japanese Defense Ministry is expected to request $40.2 billion for the next fiscal year, up slightly from the $5.18 trillion request for the current fiscal year. In the meantime, Japan, along with India, Australia, and the United States, which form an unofficial military pact company referred to as the Quad or Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, have been increasing interoperability in recent years in an attempt to project themselves as a formidable force to counter China's growing clout in the Pacific and Indian Oceans. And now let's have a quick review of the top stars. Maidama Nursery contributing in Green Campaign. Students of Warsaw Italo Secondary School start regular education. Britain port workers begin 8-day strike. And Japan mules developing long-range missile to counter China. That's all with the news for this evening. Thank you for being with us.